What? What the hell are you doing?
I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
How do you like it at the mill, Fritz? It's got to be better than the mines.
It's worse here than at Scarlet's. There you could disappear without anyone noticing. But here...
But why would you want to disappear? Nimoy isn't here.
No, he's not. But the local foreman is an even bigger arse.
I'm not sure that's possible.
You better believe it. I'd like to pay him back for everything and drown him in the river.
Drown him? What's he done to you?
It was the first or the second day here. We had a disagreement and I told him off. And then, all of a sudden, we're fighting and that fucker just throws me in the river. I nearly drowned.
Well, how did you get out? I thought you couldn't swim.
I can't. They pulled me out. I was up to my waist in water.
I see. Well, I'd be pretty fucking angry too. So you want to pay him back?
Exactly. I don't give a shit about anything around here, but that bastard's in need of a good trouncing.
What about the others at the mill? Are they awful as well?
The miller's an old fool. He believes every word that comes out of Thomas's mouth. It's hopeless. And then there's the miller's daughter. She's a pretty lass, and kind with it. But what can she do? Nothing. Not that it stops Matthew gonna see her. But Thomas is the root of the problem.
Do you think he's jealous? Is she a sweetheart?
He might make puppy dog eyes at her, but most of the time he just struts about like a peacock. I really don't think she's the problem.
And what do you want to do about it? Do you think you can come to an agreement?
No fucking chance. Matthew hopes so because he likes it here. It's true the work's better than the mines, but the pay's worse.
So how do you plan on dealing with it? Leaving?
Perhaps. But first, I want to give Thomas a proper trouncing. I mean a real thrashing.
And you think that will help?
Maybe. Maybe it'll knock some sense into that fat head of his. Or he'll be too frightened to mess with me.
That might help.
So why don't you arrange a fight with him? If we win, he'll leave us alone. Oh, we could...
What?
We could lure him off someplace far away and then wait for him. Maybe to play dice with Lawrence. He would have to go through the dark woods.
I'll think about it.
I'm honored that you should come to me.
I've heard you don't have it easy here.
So you spoke to Fritz then? I bet that wasn't quite how he put it.
No, not quite. Apart from Thomas's name, the rest was mostly swear words.
I can imagine. I've been hearing the same from him all week. The foreman here is a pain in the arse. He's trying either to wear us to the bone or force us to leave.
Always forcing you to work, is he?
If only. That wouldn't be so awful. But nothing we do is good enough for him. There's always some reason for him to yell at us.
I can imagine.
You know what it's like. We do too little, and it takes us too long, and what we eat's worth more than the work we've done, and it's no fun listening to that sort of shit day after day.
And the miller won't stick up for you. I would have thought all the yelling would drive him mad.
Not really. He trusts that loudmouth bastard more than us. He's got us down for a pair of parasites.
I see.
What's so stupid is the mill really needs us. They haven't had any hands here for quite a while, and the mill needs a lot of fixing. But with them around, we can't even get to work.
And you definitely don't... You don't ever provoke him?
I've already told you once. He's an asshole. I'd say there's nothing we can do about it. If he wants to yell at us, he'll yell at us.
Have you tried talking with him?
What do you think? But that just sets him off. He starts saying we're practically bandits, and what he's going to do about it. That gets Fritz going, and he starts yelling too, and...
And what do you want to do about it? Just run away?
Actually, I'd like to stay here, at least for a bit. I never would have thought I'd like working in a mill. But not with him around. It's unbearable, and there's no one I can complain to. But you could.
Me? Do you think they'll listen to me?
They did once already, didn't they? They hired us because of you. You could have another word with them.
Back then, making promises was enough. Now, it will be worse.
You can forget about the miller. It's Thomas you need to convince. The miller takes his opinion seriously. So, will you do it for us? Again?
Fine. I'll try and talk to him.
I'm glad. But try not to get on his wrong side. You won't get anywhere with him then.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm honored that you should come to me.
So what do you think about the workers I brought you?
If I hadn't put in a good word for them, the miller would have thrown them out by now.
I heard them say something else.
So they're complaining, are they? I provide for them, and all they do is slack off.
Isn't it the miller who provides for them?
He can't manage the work anymore. If it weren't for me, there'd be nothing left standing around here.
But you need the help anyway. And they're pretty handy.
Maybe, but they're in no danger of overworking themselves. They act like they're too good for the mill, and I saw them eyeing up Jane.
Nothing strange about that. She's a pretty girl, and she's of an age to marry.
It's not marriage they've got on their minds. They'd have their way with her, then before her belly started to grow, they'd have run for the hills.
Look, we can reach an agreement. You need the mill fixed, they need the money. If they have peace to do their work, they'll be able to finish it faster.
But...
And then they'll take their groschen and leave. The mines will open again, and the faster they get their money, the quicker they'll be gone.
But do you really think I can trust them to do it? Will they do their work and leave? And leave Jane alone in the meantime?
Of course. They're not interested in the mill. They just need the coin to pay their debts. Once they've got enough, they'll have no reason to stay here.
I never thought we could sort it out this way.
I've known them for a long time, and you can rely on them when it comes to this. Everybody will be better off.
All right. If they keep their part of the bargain, I'll even give them a few extra groschen. But woe betide them if they don't. You can tell them that.
It took some doing, but I made a deal with him.
I'm glad to hear it. So we can stay here? He'll leave us be?
He'll leave you alone, but there are conditions. Once you finish your job, you'll vanish from here. But you'll get an extra groschen or two for your troubles.
And that's it? I thought... Never mind.
Oh, and you're to stop dallying with the miller's daughter. Keep on mucking about with her and you'll muck things up for yourselves.
The fucking bastard. He can go fuck himself. He'd better give us enough groschen to make it worth it. But I suppose I should thank you. You may have bought us some peace and quiet, and that's better than nothing. Here's something for your help.
hope I can be of some humble service to you.
I've come in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa. I'm investigating the massacre in Neuhof, and now a murder here as well. Can I ask you a few questions?
I don't know nothing about it, but ask all you want.
That man Lubosh who was murdered, what was he like?
I didn't really know him. He kept to himself, even in the tavern.
Have you noticed anything suspicious recently?
Come to think of it, he was in church yesterday. He was even talking to the priest and went to confession. I was wondering what he was up to take to the faith all of a sudden. But I suppose no sin's too dark for God's mercy.
That's all. Thank you.
Here you are. And good health.
God save you. What can I do for you?
Care to try your hand at dice?
Well, it'll be tidy for a little while at least. Sir, I'll fetch it right.
This'll be the one.
And what did Betty ask?
That's all.
That's great.
One ale, please. Ale for me.
This'll be the one. That's all.
I'll have a beer.
That's it.
Coming right on.
Huh.
Here you are. And good health.
I'd like to throw some dice. Fancy a game?
Hey, where's my ale?
Huh.
One ale, please.
Here. I'll bring it right away.
That's it. This'll be the one.
But before I picked it up, I reckon someone must be playing a trick on me. And they were hiding in the bushes just down the road. Sold anyway.
Yeah, give me a minute.
This time, not it all even down at the end, anyway.
True enough. God's milkman's gonna grind it out.
Your turn.
Jesus, what do I have to do to get a drink here?
This'll be the one.
The best of health.
That's it. Should I? Shouldn't I?
Tankard, here!
No, I daren't.
My pleasure.
I hear you like a game of dice.
My pleasure.
A tankard of ale for me.
Finished. Oh. That's it.
I'd like a beer.
That'll do me.
All the best.
Good harvest. Oh no! Oh. Oh. Oh no!
One beer for me.
We'll see.
Ale for me.
Pour me one. That's it. Damn.
Here we are.
My respects to you.
Is there somewhere I could sleep here?
Aye, there's room here. For how long?
Coming right up.
Just the one night?
No problem, but you pay in advance.
Here you go.
You all like it here. Like sleeping on a cloud, it is.
Where do I go to sleep?
You'll have no trouble finding it. Right inside the door to the building, there's a ladder up to the loft. Your bed's ready there, and a trunk for your belongings.
I'll fetch it right away.
Be a bit more.
I see you know how to wield a sword, Father. I wouldn't have expected that from a man of the cloth.
With a stick. I practice with a stick. A reminder of my youth and days gone by, and it helps keep me in good form.
The blessings of our good Lord be with you, Father. I'm here in the name of Sir Hanush of Lipa, investigating the massacre at Neuhof, which seems to be connected to a murder here. Can I ask you a few questions?
It seems Sir Hanush is employing children as investigators. But ask as you wish, boy. I hope this nasty business will be cleared up quickly.
Did you know Lubosh? What was he like?
Bit of a lost soul. Simple, rough fellow, but at heart I don't think he was such a bad person.
Did you notice anything suspicious recently?
My child, all sorts of suspicious things have been going on recently. People like Lubosh don't know what to do about it, and sometimes they do stupid things.
That's really not a lot of help to me, Father.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Do you know what Lubosh was doing on the day Neuhof was raided?
Unfortunately, I do know. And I'd like to help you with your investigation, but I can't.
What?
I'm bound by certain vows that forbid me to tell you.
Vows more important than catching dangerous murderers?
There are laws of God above the laws of man, son. And one of those is the sanctity of the confessional.
Father, surely you can't be serious. There must be situations in which you can make an exception.
There are things that apply always, no matter what the circumstances, and this is one of them.
For heaven's sake, Father, can you really look me in the eye and tell me that, when you know you may be condemning innocent people to death?
I can, because if I broke that vow, the consequences would be much worse than if I didn't. Maybe not immediately, but one day. The mills of God grind slowly.
Father, Lubosh was my only lead to the Neuhof raiders. Only he could tell me who was responsible for that massacre. If I don't find out who it was, it will probably happen again. Surely you wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't. But I can't betray the sanctity of the confessional. I'll tell you what. Give me some time and I'll try to think up some way of helping you. Suppose we talk it over in the evening, in the tavern, over a cup of good wine. Maybe we'll come up with something.
All right. Thank you, Father. You live here?
Of course.
I mean here, in the presbytery.
Yeah, right here.
In the presbytery? With the parish priest?
Yes. What's the matter? Don't you like me?
Yes, of course I like you.
So why are you surprised Godwin likes me too?
I'm not. I mean, I see. I think.
These onions will make you weep like a baby, but oh, wait until you get them in your mouth. Come right up.
where you're going.
Make it quick, though. I don't care much for your scent.
I'd like to discuss the price.
Well, we can try it.
Agree?
That's a poor offer. Finally, a reasonable sum.
Jesus Christ be praised.
Carrots! Cabbage!
Why?
Orders of his lordship.
Whatever you're being paid, I'm sure I can make you a better offer.
You can go in then.
Everything I had.
Please, help me.
What happened to you?
The farmer threw me out with my little girl. A bastard. He fathered it himself, and then got rid of us so his wife wouldn't scratch his eyes out. And I'm left with nothing but to beg here at the roadside. God have mercy on me. Could you spare a little change, sir? So I can buy a blanket at least.
Of course. Here you are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you 100-fold.
Come right up, fresh cabbage, carrots, onions, radishes, everything you need for a proper soup. Radishes, carrots and apples, that'll put a smile on your face.
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first, I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. They had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. When I fled to Townberg with the Cumans on my heels, they almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There's a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovno. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but
my poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch Bernard.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujit, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noya? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhoff stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claim. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
I noticed there's a woman living with you at the presbytery.
What of it? Have you never met a cleric who lives with a woman before? Mother Church won't let me take her to wife. Too afraid it might lose its property to any heirs she bore me. But she cooks and cleans, and, well, as a man I have my needs.
I'm not sure the parish priest at St. James would agree with you.
I heard he was a bit odd.
Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubosh told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And, of course, describing them in detail. The tongue-lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable well in which the church is drowning has turned to poison. And nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth. And they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive fur, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticizes the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up, and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
Where can I find out more about his teachings?
Do you like it? I copied down some...
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj padł dziesnej smutek, do mnie i rano utek, niech już małżeński majstrat, do wczera żylne staje brak. Už sej bojí svatý muži, nechtěl bych bejbě jí kůži. Nám je to jedno a tak si dáme jedno a požadem si huby jako poslední den. Buďme se vábit a do rána slávit a tak vypal sudy a posaď se mi sem. Tak posaď se sem a vypal je ven. Ukaž kozy jako vozy, zejtra jen tu soudnej den. Tak nalej mi hned a skočí se svět.
Enough of this!
Bailiff! Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped, and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
Oh, come on.
Ah!
Oh. You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Got you. You hold. You'll get one more.
I'll bring it right away.
So, my dear, would you like to have a little ring on the bell? No sooner said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dears. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin,
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here. Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own? Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you? Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. My guts. Oh, my poor suffering stomach. Oh. What was that woman on about? Wait, before my flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Oh. Mass! Oh shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
Well, all right. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do, exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine, then. We have a deal.
Wonderful. Let's get to it, then.
Tell me you changed your mind.
Watch
What
where
is
you're
it?
going.
Are you...
never show up. The swoop.
Look at him. He can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait.
Look at him. Mother of God, any minute now he'll throw up.
I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemorationem. Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where, by the grace of God, was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious which one of them will puke first.
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is.
Boy has a cheek.
One should not believe in the church, because the church is not God. God is above all things, and the church is but a means to salvation, which the prelates do not care to hear.
He's right.
It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, cumens, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame. Shame upon them.
It is the custom of the gluttonous prelates and monks to preach against sin. But what do they know of us ordinary folk? Let us remember the marriage at Cana, where our Lord Jesus Christ himself feasted with the other guests and drank his fill. And when the wine was gone, he performed a miracle and created more. He, whose companions were poor travellers, simple folk, prostitutes and troublemakers, performed a miracle so the feast could continue.
Now that's the kind of sermon I like to hear.
No, brothers and sisters. Jesus did not condemn alcohol. Drink to lighten the cross you bear in this vale of tears, but not with such abandon that you cannot keep holy the Sabbath. For there should be moderation in all things, and it is not drinking itself that is sinful, but intemperance and beastly indulgence.
He's right.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates! Away with them!
We're fortunate to have our good father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
I say to you, in the words of Jan Hus, he who knows much, let him speak much. He who knows little, let him speak little. Let each speak as much as he knows, and he who knows nothing, let him at least teach his neighbour one virtuous deed by setting him good example and refraining from playing dice and from fornication. And that applies both to priests and to you, brothers and sisters.
That's his conclusion?
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that Hus.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a
I'm
silver
glad he
tongue.
came here. I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, and he told it nicely.
Well, well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. And I wasn't the only one.
Oh, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So's gluttony. And fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubosh tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now, slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you...
Well, now Lubosh came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out? Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubosh kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubosh killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
What the hell are you doing?
You fucked up there.
In your dreams.
What do you need?
I'm looking for a fellow called Riki. Do you know him?
You mean Hinek? He's the tanner's son, isn't he?
Any idea where I could find him?
I don't know. Try at his folks' house. But he doesn't spend much time there.
So you know this Hinek? Can you tell me something about him?
Well, not much, I confess. Most of the village folk avoid him like the plague.
Why's that?
Well, no one with a nose likes spending too much time around tanners. And that Riki keeps bad company. I've never heard a good word said about him.
G'day.
What's with the targets? Are you an archer by any chance?
I notice you're asking questions. Are you the Inquisition by any chance?
No, I'm Henry, of Scallis.
From Scallis? I'm Vatsek, from here. Why are you so curious about the targets?
I don't think so. I'm sorry to have bothered you.
Young fellows today can't make up their minds.
Tell me about the chump contest. It's just that I sometimes try my hand at archery too.
Try your hand, do you? I know plenty who do. When you can score as high as me at chumps, then I might be impressed.
I've got no idea what you're talking about.
Never played chumps? And you call yourself an archer? All right, Henry, listen up. Chumps is a game for real archers. It tests your strength, stamina, and accuracy. And it can be a nice little earner. Unless you're, well, a chump.
So what exactly is it?
I'll tell you. A bunch of logs are floated down the river. Then you count to 20, and the archers run along the banks after the logs. At the end of the course, someone collects all the logs and counts the strikes. Whoever has the most, always meaning me, wins the bout. Each archer has 20 arrows with their own colored fletching, and the contest ends. The last one floats through the finish line.
Sounds like good fun.
Fun? My friend, it will bring you out in a proper sweat, and you'll be well pleased to hit just 1 or 2 blocks. So how about it then? Fancy a bout? You'll need your own bow, but I'll supply the arrows with colored fletching.
I do.
Come on, then. Ah, one more chump. Excellent. Now you'll have to bet at least 10 groschen, 50 at most. There'll be 3 archers competing at the time. The winner gets triple his wager, and the second gets his coin back. So how much will you bet?
I don't want to lose the shirt off my back. I'd best be careful.
That's the betting over with. Now here are your arrows.
Let's see you beat that.
Almost had it.
Damn, missed.
I won't miss the next one.
Damn, missed.
Another on fire.
Ha! Let's see you beat that. Well, I won't miss the next one. Ha! Let's see you beat that. while the wind took it.
Bloody hell, the wind took it. Damn, missed. Jeez. Bloody hell, the wind took it.
You've no chance against me, amateurs. Let's see you beat that.
Good day to you.
Almost had it.
So, how did it go?
You came last, lad. But chin up. As soon as you make some money, you can stop by here again and lose it all.
good day.
I'm looking for a fellow called Riki. Have you ever heard of him?
Sure. Why wouldn't I? That's what they call my son, Hinek.
Ah, you wouldn't happen to know where he is, would you?
I don't know nothing.
Don't you at least know where he usually goes? It's important.
Hinek shows up at home once in a blue moon, so I don't know nothing about where he gets to. Even if I did, why would I tell every Tom, Dick and Harry?
Watch your tongue, peasant. I'm an envoy of Sir Radzig Kobyla, and this is an official investigation. Stop trying to put me off, and tell me where your son is right now.
I apologize if I offended you, young man. But still, I don't know where Hinek is. He turned up at the house a while back, but then he vanished again in a hurry.
And you don't know where he went? What?
Look, it's been clear to me for a long time that my boy was headed for the gallows. But I'm still his father, right? And you can't expect me to rat on my own son.
If you value your son's life at all, you better pray I find him, because I'm not the only one looking for him.
That's no surprise. But what of it? If you're here on behalf of Sir Radzig, there's nothing waiting for Hinek but the gibbet.
It doesn't have to be that way. If Hinek cooperates, he can save his neck.
I can't say you put my mind at ease. But to hell with it. I'll tell you what I know. All right. He was here a few days ago, but he left right away. He looked like he was in a hurry.
And you don't know where he went?
I've got an idea, but I don't know where it is exactly.
I don't follow.
Hinek makes some money on the side from poaching. He boasted to me a few times about what a great hideout he found in the woods, but he never told me where it is.
Well, it's not much to go on, but it's better than nothing. Thank you. Don't you have any clue at all where his hideout could be?
I really don't know nothing about that. I could tell when he'd come from there, is all.
How's that?
'Cause every time he brought some hides for tanning and money.
He had money because he sold the stuff right away?
I suppose. He never kept any of his loot here.
Do you know who he sold it to?
No. But the innkeeper came here now and again and gave him coin. Of course, it could have been for me.
All right. I'll ask at the inn then. What more do you know?
Nothing. I swear to God Almighty, I've said all I know. Hinek never told me nothing.
Bloody hell. Start using your head or I'll never find Hinek. How much time did he spend away? What was he wearing? How did he look when he came back? Anything?
Well, he came and went at all sorts of hours. I really don't know. Except maybe one thing. He'd come home scratched with brambles and with leaves and muck on him.
So he probably went through thick woods to get to that place.
I reckon. What do I know?
Vagabonds.
Let's talk about the price.
Naturally.
Is this enough?
That's a poor offer.
My last offer.
Come now, just a little more and we have a deal.
I'll go for that.
What is it?
I'd like to make use of the bathhouse's services.
And what is it you'd like?
Get myself fixed up a bit. Have a bath and get my clothes washed.
But of course. Money first, though.
I'm not giving you that much.
And how much are you willing to pay?
Satisfied?
You won't convince me with that. You won't regret spending the money, I guarantee it.
Look where you're going.
One ale over here, please.
The service is a bit slow here today.
My respects to you.
Want to try your luck? Dice?
Certainly, I'll fetch it right away.
Over here, a beer.
Oh. We'll see. We'll
Now I'm for the chop.
But I am busy.
Over here, a bit. Now you. We'll see.
Over here. I'd like to order.
Oh. That'll do me. That's it.
Ale for me.
How
I'll be
much
right
longer
back with
must
that.
I wait? God's holy hat!
One beer.
All right, all right.
We'll see. I
I
don't
have a bet.
believe it!
I'll be back in 2 shakes.
How are you?
I want to ask about the courier's son, Hinnock.
But ask someone else. I have nothing to do with Riki. He'd only drive my customers away.
Really? I heard a different story. I heard the two of you do business together.
Who are you, anyway?
A friend of Hinnock's. He's gone missing and I need to find him.
I don't know where he is. But if you find the bastard, tell him he still owes me some goods.
I've no time for this. I have to find Hinnock and you're going to help me.
Am I now? Even if I did know, why the hell would I help you?
This is a nice alehouse you have here. It would be a shame if anything happened to it.
Are you threatening me?
What do you think? So are you going to talk, or do I have to beat it out of you?
Fine. Let's get to the point then.
See now? Where there's a will, there's a way.
I did some deals with Riki, but I swear to God, I don't know where he is.
I hear Hinnock has a hideout in the woods he uses for hunting game. Do you know where it is?
Not exactly. That is... I don't know where it is at all.
But...
but I happen to know it's a dark place, a cave or an old mine shaft.
How do you know that?
Whenever Riki was going poaching, he always came to me first for candles and lamp oil. He brought the game skinned and gutted, so we had to have a light for that.
How much game did he bring you?
Not much, a few pieces. There's no great demand here. Sometimes the gentry has something, otherwise it ends up in sausages.
And do you know of any mine shafts nearby?
There's a few of them around. There's one on the opposite bank, a short way off the path leading from the forge to the west. Then there's a mine gallery to the east of the village, up in the woods above the cliffs. And I heard there's one shaft on the headland close to the water.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Watch you don't break your neck, though. It's rough ground, and you could easily fall down a shaft.
Have you got a bed for the night?
Certainly. For how long?
Just the one night?
No problem. But you pay in advance.
Here you are.
You'll like it here. Like sleeping on a cloud it is.
Ah, watch where you're going, you lout.
Jesus Christ, what am I to do? Not that I can expect any useful advice from you. At least, you've no more cares.
Need someone to talk to?
Fuck! Don't kill me. I can explain. I won't tell anyone. I swear, I've no one to tell anyway. Just please don't kill me.
I'm not planning to kill you.
You're not one of Runt's men?
No.
Huh. Then who are you?
I came to warn you. They're coming for you.
That's so. Good job I'm hiding out here then.
They killed your friend, Lubos. Nailed him to the door of his own house.
Why do you think I'm in hiding?
If you don't want to end up like him, you better tell me what you know.
And how will that help me?
If they come to a bad end, they won't be bothering you anymore, will they? And if you help me, I guarantee they will come to a bad end. One way or another.
Fine. What do you want to know?
That Neuhoff raid of yours didn't turn out quite as planned, did it?
Depends on whose plan you're talking about. We were up to it to grab some loot and bugger off. Only Runt's cutthroats was there to shed blood.
What do you mean, Runt's cutthroats?
There were two gangs there, mine and Runt's. We was only there to steal, but they wanted to slaughter everyone.
But when you realised what they had in mind, you didn't have to go along with it, did you?
But we didn't know nothing, even though we were going to Neuhof. They told us to keep watch on the courtyard while they were cutting the horses' throats. Jesus, that fucking vexed me. Their horses was the most valuable thing there. When I spoke up, though, Runt gave me such a bollocking I knew I'd better keep my mouth shut. And when they said we was going to kill anything what moved, then we knew there was no going back.
That gang of yours, what can you tell me about them?
Don't know what you want to know. There was 4 of us. Me, Timmy, Limpy Lubosh, and Pius Pava. Sometimes we'd rob a place or hold up pilgrims. Never nothing fancy.
I'm sure you did mischief enough. Who led you?
Pius. He was the oldest, and he'd mostly find the jobs for us. Plan them and the like. He got us into that fucking mess in Neuhof, too.
What about the others?
Timmy's strong as an ox, with a brain to match. You got more sense out of a fence post. And Limpy, I've been with him the longest. He's my one and only friend, I suppose.
Where did the rest of your gang end up?
You saw Limpy, right?
Yes, but he's no use to me now. Tell me where I can find Pius or Timmy.
I don't know nothing about Pius. He vanished in the woods, and I haven't seen him since. Timmy, I reckon, went back to the mill where he works.
Which mill?
The windmill a bit north of Neuhof.
Who got your 2 gangs together? You must have made contact somehow, right?
Pius. He comes to us and says he's got this prime job. We're going to rob a farm, he says. That was a big deal, because mostly we just did small stuff. A hold up on the road now and then, nothing fancy. When they told us how much we could make on it, well, we just couldn't refuse.
So Pius knew them?
I suppose, but I don't know where from. We even got paid up front. I should have known from the start it was too good to be true.
I don't suppose you know where they got to after the raid?
On the way to Neuhof, Timmy told me he was at their camp with Pius. I reckon that's where they've gone now.
Did Timmy tell you where the camp is?
Somewhere in the woods. He didn't say nothing more. Thing is, Timmy's got quite an imagination. But Pius roared at him to shut it, so I reckon there must be something in it.
Did you know any of Runt's people?
Not a one. They didn't talk to us at all. None of their faces was familiar either. The only thing I know is they called that huge chief of theirs Runt, and Pius warned us to watch out for him.
Tell me exactly how the raid went down.
Well, we stormed in from the rear. Runt's people started slaughtering the horses. Jesus, that was bleeding horrible. Meanwhile, me and Limpy had a sniff round the stables to see if we could find anything worth pilfering. And in the end, we got lucky.
What did you find?
Smill, Sir Hanish's groom. I don't know why he was up and what he was doing in the stables, but we took advantage of the situation. Limpy grabs him by the throat, and I slapped him round to encourage him to tell us where the money was. Then it all fell apart at the seams. Quicker than you'd believe. Runt comes running up and skewers the groom like a pig for roasting. My jaw dropped. I thought the stuff about killing was just tough talk.
And it wasn't?
No, not in the least.
What happened then?
I'm gaping at Smill, stuck through and through, and I noticed this boy standing at the other end of the stables. The stupid sods pointing at us, jaw hanging down to his knees, saying, "I know you." Runt turns to us and hisses, "Take him down." So me and Lubosh start running, because the lad took to his heels. At the same time, we could hear the noise of the skirmish in the courtyard. We caught up with the boy at the next farmhouse. I knock him to the ground, but he bashes me with some piece of iron so hard my head's ringing like a fucking church bell. Limpy grabs it off him and stands over him with his bodkin in his hand, and I start praying. In the end, Limpy just gives him a kick and says, "Beat it, Ginger." And then Runt shows up at the gate and hollers that we gotta go, so we scarp it.
What happened after the raid?
We were waiting for that fool, Timmy. Same place as we met them before, so he'd know where we were, right? Stupid fucking idea. But Pius didn't want to leave him behind. Only when Timmy finally turned up, 2 of Runt's men were dragging him.
There was some difference of opinion?
You could say that, yeah. They started on us right away that we were traitors. They knew we'd let somebody get away, and now we were going to pay for it. They started trying to surround us, and we knew what was coming. But Limpy took his bodkin and let that fucker have it in the belly.
Runt?
One of the others. Timmy broke free from them, and we all took to our heels. Luckily, they were so buggered from the raid, they didn't follow us for long. They just shouted that they'd find us.
That's all I need to know. So now what do I do with you?
Well...
Hey, over here! It's up the hill. Shh. Jay, found the cave. Shut up, Billy.
Oh, shit. Runs, people. We've got to get out of here.
They're too close. We'll never outrun them.
Fuck!
At least they don't know I'm here. The 2 of us can take them by surprise.
No fucking way. I'm gone.
Look here. If you run, they'll catch up with you and kill you. And me too. Together, we stand a better chance.
Jesus Christ. All right. I suppose you're right.
Hey, who's there? Who's there? The answer to my prayers. Just when I wanted to vent my rage on someone.
Weak at the knees, have you?
Ow! Yeah! Well landed! God! Kurva! Enough! You've got me! Leave me be.
That's gonna cost you your life. Well, that's the end of you.
I've got some more questions.
What?
Who is this Runt? What does he look like? Do you know anything about him?
I never saw him before, but he's massive and scary as hell. Even his own men are afraid of him.
Did you notice what his sword looked like?
No, it was just a regular sword, I think. Why do you ask?
I think I once had the doubtful honour of meeting that bastard, and he has something that doesn't belong to him. You're coming with me. Sir Radzig and Sir Hanush will want to hear what you've got to say.
Don't suppose there's any chance you might turn a blind eye.
Why should I?
I didn't do nothing all that bad, and I told you everything I know. You can tell them yourself, and leave me here, and in a few weeks I'll pack up and clear off.
Nothing bad. How many people were screaming at Neuhoff? Half the stables are burnt down.
I didn't kill no one, and I didn't start no fire, neither.
But you had a hand in it, and you wanted to rob them. You could have warned them.
I'm no saint, but surely I don't deserve to hang for that. It was them others.
I don't give a tinker's curse. You were there, you didn't warn anyone, and you helped those murderers, even if it was only for a while. You're going to Rattay with me.
You're condemning me to death. You know that, don't you?
Maybe Sir Hanush will have mercy on you. You've had the devil's own luck so far.
Very well.
Kurva!
Go.
Enough!
Get the fuck
You
out
got
of
me!
here.
Leave me be!
Carrots and apples, picked today, but ain't mine on your plate. Come get them.
You, what do you want from me? What is it? Jesus, look what you're doing.
Cabbage! Cabbage! Green cabbage! Get it before it goes brown. Bread! Fresh bread! Bread! Rolls, buns, and pretzels! Cucumber! Good people, come up close and have a smell. Fresh bread, and pour yourself a bit of fresh milk to drink.
My family, my livelihood.
I'll bring it right tomorrow.
What do you need?
I've got a bit of coin today. What better way to use it than a game of dice?
This'll be the one. Ah. Finished. This'll be the one. Should I, shouldn't I? No, I daren't. Oh, no!
Certainly, I'll fetch it right away.
We'll see. Finished. We'll see. That's it. Your turn.
I've got a bit of coin today. What better way to use it than a game of dice?
That's it. This'll be the one. I shouldn't have pushed it. Should I, shouldn't I? No, I daren't. Finished. We'll see. I don't believe it. That'll do me.
One beer for me.
G'day.
My pleasure.
Good day. Hey!
I'd like to know...
What do you think of the Lord here, Sir Hanush?
He comes from the glorious line of the Lords of Lipa. Folks say he's a bit hot-headed, but he took us in, so he must be a good Christian.
So, how do you like it in Rattay?
It's a big town with good strong walls, so I suppose we're safe here. And they took us in our hour of need, but for how much longer? They'll grow tired of us soon enough.
How are the Skalitz folk getting on?
They're alive, that's the main thing. They have shelter, but they're just scraping by. Rattay's citizens aren't happy the town is full of beggars who don't look like leaving anytime soon.
That's all. Have you got a moment? I'd like to ask a few questions about Skalitz. I don't remember much.
All right. What do you want to know?
How did you get me away from Skalitz?
It wasn't easy. Sir Robard and his men helped load you on a wagon and we harnessed an old nag the bandits had left behind. The soldiers escorted us all the way here, God bless them.
I won't trouble you anymore. Let's leave it be.